Welcome back to the Best Ball Boardroom. I am back from an absolutely horrific work vacation to Vegas. I golfed, I played poker, hung out with some good people, but I could not draft. It was miserable. Going 4 days without doing any fast drafts. I don't know how they do it in those states where you can't play, but that is why we are back, and we have an amazing crew joining us today. You know them from the Ship Chasing, the Chasing Corain Network. It is ADP Chasing. Davis, Pat, Sam, how are we doing?
Doing good.
Doing great, man.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Very, very excited for us to collaboratively join here. We do a lot of talking over one another, so this will be we're contained by the roughly 50 minutes of the draft, so it's going to be hard for this to be a 3-hour episode.
This is the best. I'm literally just going to sit back, make some picks, let you guys debate, and we'll see where we end up. But for starters, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, we were asking, how many drafts do people think that cumulatively the four of us have done? And we said this year we'll say, obviously not playoff drafts from last year. So before the draft counts, do we want to do a lot in things first of all? Does anyone have a guess, or we can just come up with the numbers?
Well, I need to. Does this include DraftKings or not?
Everything.
Okay. Well, give me one more second.
May take some time to research.
Okay.
I would say, I feel like my base assumption is like 400 per person. Maybe that's too high. Maybe 300 per person.
I'm under.
I'm gonna say like.
Well,
I'm gonna say like 1,200.
Don't say that for a lot of things, right?
No, this is fun. This is fun.
Okay.
We're not too sophisticated.
I'm gonna say 1,800.
I think
no. Did I do that right? Yeah.
Okay. So I'm at 719.
Okay.
A lot of drafts.
But 1,800 may not be bad. So for the guesses, lowest guess was 326. Highest was 8,000. If we throw out the 8,000, the next highest was there were 3 in the 31 to 3,400s. Average was 1,519. Let's see how wisdom of crowds.
I've done 509 drafts.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
That puts us at 1218.
You guys
Jesus Christ from Sam. I mean, that's not good.
I mean, I'm at 299 plus. I'm not counting my drafters and DraftKings. I'd say I've only done like 15 in each of those, maybe. So put me at 320.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are blowing me out of the water.
A lot of them were pre-draft because I maxed out like some of the super board, and then I think the rookies and sophomores. That's an easy 300. That's probably.
I did 3 rookies and sophomores. I didn't do any of those.
Those are so fast drafts too. Like they were so quick, but yeah,
they're so. That's actually why I don't like them. I just like.
No, Pat just wants to grind these.
They're like a little
puppies, 150 slow ones, and just take up his entire summer rather than get these fun little 10-minute rookies and sophomores.
My favorite dessert is ice cream. It's rich, it's flavorful. You enjoy it. I don't want to just nibble on little jelly beans that these little fast drafts are. It's more jelly beans.
I'm not going to do the math to the exact number on Underdog because it's too confusing. But I have 85 on DraftKings, and I've got roughly, let's call it 280 on Underdog because I also have 44 slow drafts going right now that are almost done.
365 I'm giving you. Yeah. That comes out to 1913. Kareem was very close. We have one person who had 1911. Wow.
Whoa.
Wow. Congratulations, 1911. That's
congratulations to us. The opposite of congratulations to all of our wives and partners.
On that note, let's
bad.
make it 1912.
All right.
We're hopping to BBM. If you had the 1911, I'm going to go back in the replies and figure out who that was.
Incredible.
It's funny because like
prize for this.
I'm buying a puppy. You know what those are?
$5.
Yeah, I know.
Did you get slow pat?
Slow or fast.
There's a bunch. I'll give the person. Gosh, how wicked did that be? Like I picked some. If I won a giveaway and they were like, "You have to do a slow puppy," I'd be so pissed.
It's not worth it.
We're like, yeah. Gretsch gets like a $5 puppy that he has to do a fast with, and you just can't enter.
a bummer. I will say, having committed to the slow draft lifestyle for the first time ever, I've always been so anti-slow draft. The incredibly nice thing, because I'm still doing fast drafts, the incredibly nice thing is that my total number of drafts goes up without committing 3 hours a day to just staring at my phone screen. Like I just am getting more drafts in than I would in a normal year without doing any slows.
I would like for one of those days for you to calculate how much you are spending a day just in the slows.
I mean, I bet it's like an hour.
Okay. And then,
I think it's more than an hour. I max entered the puppy slow. I think I probably did like 130 of the drafts slow. And I definitely spent more than an hour a day. But it definitely spent less time than I would have drafting all of them fast.
But it's also like, we're doing this. We're sitting here doing this right now. And if I get a notification on DraftKings or Underdog that I'm up, I can just click it in a second.
Well, I did so Carlos said he's on the clock at every moment of the day. That gets tiring.
See, that's brutal. I can't do that.
But it also it's sort of a double-edged sword because we're on the clock here.
Tyreek, CMC, Cooper.
I take Cup here.
Yeah, I take McCaffrey here.
I take McCaffrey or Cup.
I'm down to do that.
Sam, decide. You got the choice. We heard a Cup.
There's running backs in the second round, Sam, if we take Cup.
Let's go Cup.
Okay.
See, I know how to convince them.
Hey man, I'll go 3 running backs off the rip if you want
to.
Not anymore. We lost that. Yeah, maybe Saquon will fall to us. Saquon's been falling.
Well, I don't know what your room.
See, I don't like taking Saquon. I think Saquon
like
is
either.
I think he's a dusty ass pick. So I
mostly the correlation.
Who cares? I just Saquon.
Give it to me in the third.
Who cares about week 17? Chat, put it on Twitter. Davis Maddox just. Who cares about week 17?
I don't.
Is this a gotcha podcast? Is it what's going on?
Well, I don't know if Barkley and Cup correlate that well. Like it feels like the Giants' vision for Barkley is to like turn him into fucking Leonard Fournette. Like they just want him to be a grinder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean he's just like who else? Like I get it's a volume-based argument, but I think it applies when he's done it for so many years in a row. And who's their running back 2 now? Like Matt Breida. Like Barkley's just not leaving the field, and he doesn't.
I mean, they played Breida on third downs over him some last year anyway.
But not really. I mean, not really.
He had 76 targets in a fully healthy season.
That's a lot for a running back. What? That's top 5 in the NFL.
With the dustiest wide receiver group in the NFL. I'm a Saquon bear. I'm a
Saquon bear as well.
But it's just that if the Giants offense, like I get he's not that great, but if the Giants offense is just good and Barkley's still ripping off long runs, like he was still doing that last year. I don't know. He could
do that last year.
He could score a ton of touchdowns, plus long runs. Like
that's right.
I don't know.
But you also have this contract situation, which like it's not. Maybe we shouldn't.
It's not going away.
Yeah, like shouldn't that be worth a couple pick? If we have these concerns, like shouldn't that be worth like a pick or 2? I don't know. Like maybe I'd rather take Pollard. I love Jonathan Taylor where he's going.
Taking Pollard over him feels so fucking good. It just feels like
good.
Yeah, it just feels good. You know,
it's the same bet. It's another it's a big play guy who did sign the franchise tag.
The argument against that is Giants are not going to be going and signing any of these 4 running backs.
Yeah.
There's still like, even if it is, I don't know, I'd probably put it like 25% that like the Cowboys end up signing one of these dusty 4 old guys. And if that happens,
yeah. And I mean, the goal line role with Pollard is a bit more of a projection, right? Like we know Barkley has a goal line role. Pollard, we don't 100% know that. I love Pollard. I mean, you're not going to have any. I'm fine with taking Pollard over Barkley. It's not something I'll fight too hard.
I'd also be. Oh, there goes Pollard. To me, it's like you're often looking at Jonathan Taylor or Saquon.
All right. Well, Saquon and Pollard went the picks before us.
I would take Derrick Henry here. I know
that's not going to
fly. It's not going to fly on this.
I promised Sam a running back here, so I think we should take Henry.
Do you know who he plays in Week 17, buddy? You want to talk about correlation? There's a 1-to-1 correlation with Derrick Henry scoring 34 half PPR points against the Houston Texans.
I think the Henry thing's kind of interesting, right? With the Hopkins news, I know it's not confirmed yet, but I mean, doesn't Hopkins going to the Titans like make you a lot more excited about Derrick
Well,
Henry?
it just confirms what we all knew, which is that Mike Vrabel has no interest in just watching his team suck ass and give no effort for a whole season.
Like if they sign Hopkins, that means Tannehill's playing. Like, sure, Tannehill could still suck and get benched. Sure, that's possible. But if they sign Hopkins, they're going for it. They're not playing Will Levis with DeAndre Hopkins on like a $15 million contract. Like, come on.
Yeah, I also don't
agree.
think like Tannehill sucking leads to him getting benched, because there's no way Will Levis is going to be better unless it's sucking so much that they are now tanking and they're out of it.
Alan here. Perfect backdoors. We have our stud wide receiver, and we got like 7
I would probably go
backdoors
Brees,
we can
but
take.
I'm just so in the tank for him.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm good with Allen in this one.
The good news for you about Brees, Pat, is that you're going to be able to get 4th round Brees in August
Once they sign Dalvin.
Well, or just once they put him on the pup.
Oh, he's not starting on the pup. I'll side bet you that.
He probably won't. He probably is just going to get like 12 carries a game.
There's been no indication from anyone that he will start on the pup. No one's been floating that at all.
He just came out, what was it, yesterday today, saying that his plan has always been week 1. He's testing the knee. He's doing well. Obviously, this is players speak, but I don't like.
Yeah, Javonte Williams said the same thing. I don't believe either one of them.
But I don't think Javonte
didn't suffer the same
worse.
injury.
And I don't. Yeah, not expecting him either to start on the pup though. But yeah.
I've been into 3rd round Josh Allen. I think 3rd round Josh Allen's pretty nice, especially because I'm ready to capitulate. Dalton Kincaid is finally a perfectly fine click where he goes.
Where's he going now?
130?
I'm not taking him still.
It's like,
yeah, that's still a little rich for me.
I've been getting like
32.
13th round Kincaid in these palms.
I don't think that's bad. It's still like probably a round before where I would be happy to take him. Like correlated with Allen, I'd be happy to take him in the 14th, but it's not as bad as it was.
I think the challenge becomes really honestly for tight ends, once you get past like Njoku and Freiermuth, what is the real difference from this Dalton Schultz, Chig, Kincaid to the Taysom, Jawan, Hayden Hurst?
2022 Alberto, 2023 Chig. Corporate needs to find the difference between these two pictures.
Yeah,
they're the same picture.
I saw the Hurst one that you had, Justin. That one I don't really buy, the Schultz's Hurst thing, because at least with Schultz, I'm pretty confident I'm getting the routes, whereas Hurst and really the late round punt guys in general, I think one thing you are sacrificing is we don't even know for sure how much playing time they're going to get. A lot of those guys, and I take a lot of those guys, like Hunter Henry, Cade Otton. I think they're going to run most of the routes there, but like, I don't know that, whereas Dalton Schultz is going to run all the routes at least.
Yeah. I think Schultz is locked in, but I agree with you, Pat, mostly, but even guys like Dulcich and Chig, I think have some question marks about playing time.
Chig definitely has question marks on the routes. Yeah. And Dulcich,
because Dulcich was used as a slot wide
happen.
receiver. I mean, he was used as like a slot wide receiver a bunch last year. I wish I had like the numbers, but with all the wide receivers they have, I wonder if that usage like goes away. But
I pushed back a little bit on this on Ship Chase, where I think there's like tight ends can be in the slot on the right side of the formation with a slot wide receiver on the left, or vice versa. Like being in the slot doesn't mean they're the way these things are charted. They're still occupying the tight end spot in the offense. So what I would be curious about that there is how much 12 personnel did they run? Because if they ran a bunch of 12, then that indicates that he has snaps to lose if they didn't run that much 12. And I don't know how much 12 they ran off the top of my head.
I'm just thinking like the more wide receiver depth they have this year. Like last year, there were periods when Judy was out, like, and Hamler was gone, Patrick was gone. They were running out some like real weird wide receivers, and like I think that contributed a little bit to Dulcich's playing time, but I don't know. It's a fair point.
All right, we are back on the clock.
We're in hell right now.
This is bad.
I just click Kirk here probably.
I would Kirk or Kenneth Walker.
I would take
for me.
Yeah,
because we can't even do the Fields thing.
We can't even do the Fields thing. This is why. My sliding doors is we go Brees, then we go Moore, then we try to get Fields coming back. But in this case, I probably just take Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk is fine.
I'm good with that. Was it? I wish I could go back and see which podcast I've listened to recently, but wasn't it Davis and Pat? Wasn't it with you two and one other talking about was it Dynasty tight ends? And the person you're with was given a strong case for Hayden Hurst this year.
We did. It was Pat. We had to give our candidate for this year's Gary Barnage, and Hayden Hurst was Jacobs, I think.
That's right. He rattled off some strong things that I liked, but now that we're comparing him to Gary Barnage, maybe that's not actually a
no. But the if you're able to get ahead of whoever that year's Barnage is, it's a huge win.
It's a huge win.
Yeah. All right, we are in an ugly spot. Maybe
I would take
Hawkinson.
I would take Brandon Ayuk here, honestly.
I would take.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, can I make a case for a running back just because we have Josh Allen for wide receivers late? We have the Rams correlates with Giants wide receivers late. We have the Jags correlates with
let's take
Stafford as well.
Let's take Walker.
Is your argument for Kenneth Walker at least?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think he's got a ton of upside.
Walker is a fucking great pick.
I like Kenneth Walker a lot.
I've sort of demanded that Walker be in the 5th round, and now that he is in the 5th round, I do take him.
Yeah.
My season is really going to live or die with the Seahawks. I get like one of these guys, Walker,
I have
Sharps,
a lot of Seahawks,
or Lockett or JSN in like I don't know, 50% of my teams probably.
I have very little DK. I know I have far less Lockett than you have, Davis, but I've got a ton of JSN and a decent amount of Walker.
I have a ton of JSN. I have a ton of Lockett. I have a ton of Charbonnet. I'm below market on Walker, but I take him. And I take Geno at a pretty high rate because I have one of his guys usually.
Well, Geno is such a good backdoor. We're like, oh, you don't get any of the elites. You take Lockett. You know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. And Geno, I'm more comfortable with him as part of 2 quarterback builds.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not getting benched. I mean, if he gets hurt, whatever, but anyone can get hurt, but there's no bench risk there.
This Justin Fields falling is pretty crazy. 54. I remember when we started like BBM, he was going almost like mid-30s, high 30s.
Well, once the Lamar contract situation resolved itself, and now that person that drafts at 2, when they get T as well, then you're like Burrow is going to go ahead of Fields at a big clip. Then
Mahomes Fields, what's going on?
Yeah, don't love that. Obviously, I don't know if it was an auto pick or not, but
he's just vibing, dude. He's value hounding.
Started with the stack, and then
and he did the bring back with Drake London. I mean, like it kind of makes sense, but I don't think
it's also New England Chiefs week 16, right?
No,
oh my god, I know 0 week 16. Yeah,
maybe this is a good conversation. I think week 15 and 16 are like so important this year when is it 1 out of 16 in both?
1 out of 16.
Yes, both.
Yeah, like I don't like you need a top percentile outcome in those weeks almost like nearly just as much as you need it in week 17 if you define like being in the top 10.
Theoretically, but there's a difference between being top 4%,
7%.
Yeah, there you go.
1 out of 16.
I know, but like is bringing back like aren't bringbacks like better for like that percentile range outcome than like the nut percentile outcome? Like I don't know. That's what I'm
right.
Is it
like?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
I think from a DFS standpoint, if you want you don't want a second bring back on the opposite team, and you for the nut outcome,
you wouldn't bring if you're doing like a high stakes 1 out of 16 like DFS tournament. You're not going with heavy bringbacks.
Yeah, you're doing this.
I'd be more likely to game stack
Yeah. This is like Leone's Thunderdome thing, where like he'll mega stack one game.
But you should be using bringbacks in the DK Millie Maker. Like that's Levitan's shown that in his stuff. You do want to be over the field in terms of your bringback.
Yeah.
At least you did, the last few years.
I just think you can kind of do both, and people like just ignore week 15 and 16 when like I don't like when it was like 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 to advance. Like I don't think it was that important, but now that it's 1 out of 16 to advance. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about it wrong, but
I think if you're doing it at the expense of week 17, then it's bad. But if you're doing it as a bonus, then it's very, very good.
And I know we say like, hey, when it's a tiebreaker, like maybe I'll make this decision. And now that the point, there's just so many tiebreakers, but like, sure, it's not going to hurt you as long as Pat said, it's not at the expense of something else. I'm probably just not willing to devote that mental mind share or tab for week 16.
So I do the I do the star system.
Kyle Pitts.
I think we go Pitts. I think we push the Gabe.
Push
By ADP, we can wait.
Okay, we have Hawkinson here. I could see pick one going Pitts. I'm good with Pitts. We really do need wide receivers. Still
That's
good
true.
with Pitts?
Well, we are going
5
to back
seconds.
we are going to backfill wide receiver because we're going to take Shakir and Hardy or Shakir and Sherfield.
And we're probably going to take Stafford, I would think. I mean,
Yeah,
we can build
we're
out.
probably
Yeah,
gonna
that's what I was
take-
thinking with the Giants receivers. I mean, we also have the Panthers correlate with the Jags. That's also late wide receivers. There's a lot of late wide receivers that tie into this build. So I think
now we're locked into a 2-2 build at the onesies, so that gives us an extra wide receiver.
Generally, I do like the Hayden Winks' 4 through 7 rule.
Yeah, I do too. I think 4 through 8 can be okay in a pinch, but it's not ideal.
Yeah, 2 through 6 is not our normal.
No.
But yeah. So
the front half of the board is tough this year. Like I don't like the wide receivers at the 2-3 turn a ton. I like Olave a lot. And I don't like, but he's usually gone. I don't like the wide receivers a ton at the 4-5 turn. They can get kind of snapped up. 6-7 turn I usually like, but Pitts is amazing.
Yeah. To Davis's point, I could also still see us going 3 tight ends. If we wanted to take this round 17, round 18, make it 3 tight ends, just because of the tight ends that are available, and then at 17th, 18th, I'm okay with that as well. Or if we have a falling, honestly, Dawson Knox should be our second tight end and just be done.
Normally I would agree, but I think we should be like, this is a team that's looking at like Jalen Hyatt and Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton, like, some of those guys at the very end. Because we are very weak at wide receiver.
We are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, no, I agree here. If we get Dawson Knox and maybe
live a
we even
little,
take
dude.
him a little early, that fits. And I'm perfectly content with Kyle Pitts and Dawson Knox when, Dawson stacked.
We can just stop at 1 tight end. Kyle Pitts is going to be so good this
stop.
year. We're going to have some transitive points over to his bye week. I worked on that thread last week, and like the more I looked into it, I was like, Pitts is actually like such a fucking smash. Like
He's a smash.
The people who are just so aggrieved based off of him getting hurt and like not scoring last year, like.
Yeah.
It is such a case of emotions are clouding people's judgment. It's like a collective hysteria.
I think Kyle Pitts is a better draft pick than George Kittle and would maybe even say at the same ADP. Definitely with the round that we're getting now.
Kittle had like a
Kittle's so
12%
difficult.
target share with Purdy.
It's so because Kittle, like, I not guarantee, but I'd go out on a limb and say Kittle's 2 best games this year are going to be better than Pitts' best game.
That's the
totally.
thing.
And that's just like
the thing.
something that we've banked on for years with Kittle. Like, it seems like unreliable and unpredictable, but at this point, it's almost not, right? Like,
It's not.
He's gonna,
And-
yeah.
And how is it happening? Well, like we know he has this coach who like is one of the better offensive schemers in the entire league, who loves to kind of set up stuff and then reverse that stuff using like play action. A lot of that's like perfect for utilizing your tight end. Kittle's amazing after the catch. It's like he will spike. He will spike this year if he's healthy. When do those spikes happen? So now, if they happen in week 3 and week 6, like Kittle was a terrible pick. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kittle wouldn't be a terrible pick if he was cheaper, but he's more expensive than Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. And as Pat said, like if it happens during the season, he then becomes a higher advance rate player, but that's like may not actually be the greatest thing for your team. Like you still need that spike week from him. And now you're getting it at a little higher ownership.
The reason why I take him and Ayuk so much is that Purdy is such a pocket pick right now. Like, It's just like clicking on Brock Purdy, you just feel so warm and fuzzy. You're like, I just am getting such a discount on what his projectable points are going to be when he's playing because there's still a specter.
Sam's like smiling ear to ear right now.
No, I was just thinking about Davis's tweet about Trey Lance and the Taysom Hill role. I wanted to have that discussion at some point.
Yeah, I mean Trey Lance scoring 2 rushing touchdowns in week 17 on 2 carries is gonna be the final nail. Like that might get me to quit fantasy football. I think if Trey Lance scores 2 rushing touchdowns as a running back. Yeah.
All right, we probably.
Zay,
yeah.
I love Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
Easy.
Easy pick right
See,
there.
that's the thing about going away from wide receiver early is occasionally when you get a faller like this. I know it's only
You
4
get
picks
one of
past
these guys.
ADP, but it just feels so good.
Just
I feel
not
like
having to click on Sutton, Michael Thomas, or Jamison Williams feels so
I think
goddamn
I'm back
freeing.
in on Sutton. I'm coming back around on Sutton.
Slant boy? Like, is that the narrative for Sutton for you?
He's the new slant boy.
I see it.
The narrative of he's done is I've been digging through that, looking at open score. I cited this on Ship Chasing last night, but I was looking at open score, and Jerry Jeudy finished 11th in open score last year. Cortland Sutton was 12th.
What is open score for the people? Because obviously
Open
I'm
score
very
is,
familiar with open score, but for everyone else that is listening.
It's 538/ESPN's player tracking metric. So they utilize the chips, so you can actually see they can like factor in player acceleration, and they measure at the point the ball was thrown, and then if you were targeted at the point that you were targeted as well. So it's not just for targeted routes; it's for all routes, kind of like reception perception in that sense. But it's it can be a little wonky with some players. Are like, that seems odd. So it's not like gospel, but the fact that Sutton was 12th, I do think undermines the narrative that he never really recovered from the ACL tear.
That's fair. That's funny if that's true, and like you said, open score a little wonky some stuff. But if it is true that Jeudy and Sutton were both that good at getting open last year, then Russ is completely dust.
Yeah, Jarrett Stidham. Week 17.
Oh, I was gonna float Dylan there.
I would have been down with that. We're not doing Sharp.
Can I sell you guys on the Walker Sharps backfield, or is that too radical for this program?
I think I would like to see a fall for Charbonnet to do that.
Yeah,
Sure.
Me too.
Sure.
10 seconds.
I would go Rashad Penny probably
Yeah.
here if it was up to me.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with
Penny?
Penny. I mean, I like
No,
Allen
a
Robinson
round
too.
reach.
He's not coming back though.
All right, talking to Penny, I have if anything, I've been on the other side of like.
Yeah, you're a Swift boy.
No, I'm not a Swift boy. I have like zero Swift. Gosh, now I'm literally gonna have to go into my.
Okay, all right. I misread.
We're gonna miss our next
Oh,
pick because Justin's got to show us he doesn't draft Swift.
I don't know, man. Penny's just good. I don't have much of a case besides he's just really good and like.
Wow. Okay. All right. Capitulation.
Like,
You're just out on the Eagles, huh? You just don't think they're gonna.
No,
Oh, you got 11% Penny.
But I'm definitely
But
not reaching
wait,
around. And then
56
Gainwell, I've
bucks?
got 15. Yeah.
Gainwell, I like. Yeah, I like all of them. I have.
Swift boy, get out of here, Davis. Where's the mute button?
Where's the draft that we're drafting?
We got time. You realize we
don't
just
worry
chose
about
Penny
it.
around ahead of time?
It's done now.
I'm 8% Swift and Gainwell and 15% Penny.
I just can't imagine like if Penny. I think he's almost drawing dead to play all 17 games, and that's why I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater with DeAndre Swift. But like, it's this insanely good backfield, and I just think like Crane, this thing you said to me earlier in the offseason really stuck with me, which is that there is like an edge in making talent bets at running back because the market almost is just not doing that anymore. It's almost just solely based on projectable volume. And I just think Penny is way better than all the other available running backs in that backfield. Like, to me, I think the Eagles coaches are going to hate DeAndre Swift. I think they're going to get him in that building and be like, why is this guy here?
And it's the narrative with Swift of like how he wins is like he wins as this like elite pass catching running back. Like the team has AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, and Dallas Goedert, and they're designing like the offense through a pass catching running back. Like, I don't know. And they have Jalen Hurts too, who scrambles all the time. Like, I just don't see the match between Swift's skill set and what the Eagles like are doing in an ideal world. And maybe I'm not thinking creatively enough. And like,
he's a breakaway runner. I generally agree with you. And I'm, like I said, I'm at 8%. So I'm just sort of matching the field, but and I've tried to get him at discounts primarily, but he does create explosive plays. And I think running behind the best offensive line in the league is like maybe helps his biggest weakness, which is that he like doesn't hit the right hole. He's bouncing stuff outside. Like if he wants nice, clean lanes, like he actually probably will get that.
And a smart
he
coach.
ran behind a great offensive line last year, so maybe not, but
Yeah.
A smart coach
He
is going to
does- he
create those
doesn't-
plays
he
for him,
doesn't
I think,
care.
compared to what we saw in Detroit with his skill set. I actually think Beimflor was on a pod with you, Kareem, and I loved his arguments around we don't think enough about the actual like football player in the room. And like I think Swift for that is my perfect example where like there was something going on in Detroit that like he couldn't get in the field. They didn't want him there. Even when no one else was healthy, he still wasn't getting the playing time. Probably going to carry over to the Philly as well. And then you compare the opposite to like a Jamal Williams or someone who doesn't matter where he is. The coaches love him. He's doing things that are right. And there's probably an X's and O. There's probably a practice aspect, things that we're not counting or measuring that the coaches really do like that's giving them the playing time. And we as fantasy analysts, like we do as much as we can, but that's probably some gaps. And I think Swift versus Jamal Williams is the perfect polar opposites of that.
Yeah.
Well, you're betting on a guy who has staked his brand to Ronald Jones, who's probably the poster boy for something might be going on. So I completely don't buy that argument.
All right. A-Chain, Mitchell.
Yeah.
I
Any of
like
these
them
top
both.
3 running backs I like. Are there any correlations to break ties with any of these top 3?
Well, we chose not to pick McCaffrey, so a lot of teams with overlapping players to us will probably have McCaffrey. So Elijah Mitchell.
That's as good a tiebreaker as
I
any.
like that.
All right, talk through that argument again. You're just saying from the 3 spot, and the other guys were taken in the 3 spot, such as Derrick Henry and Josh Allen.
Henry and Josh Allen specifically, I think would have a more than random, more than an 8% roster ratio with McCaffrey. So taking Elijah Mitchell on these teams means that obviously it's a very small thing, but it is a bet against McCaffrey.
And we didn't have any correlation. There's nothing else to break the tie.
And 2 things there. It's yes, we get uniqueness, but also in years that McCaffrey has an amazing year, we're less likely to advance. In years McCaffrey has an injury, now not only is our team better, but another one of those 12 teams that 11 teams we're competing against is probably dead. So both those help with it. I like it.
We actually did have correlation though. A-Chain and Flowers correlate.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. But no, we knew we were getting A-Chain with this one here. It's okay.
So are we going 5 and then we're done? Or is that
there's one wide receiver that I would definitely make a case for given our team.
I bet we're gonna be on different guys here.
Let's see. I don't want to. So Nico Collins, Derrick Henry's rushing for 200 yards in week 17. How is Houston trying to?
Nico is the
Look at
right
that third
pick
eye
for
wide open.
Nico's the right pick for our team because we can also take Stroud. We give ourselves another backdoor. But Gallup is the guy here. I'm choosing not running correlation sims.
Rondale would be the guy for me if So
we're just in hell right now. Like having to pick a wide receiver in this, it's like we're just eating shit. So it is what it is.
I don't know. I really like Nico, and maybe it's just like
he was out targeting Brandon Cooks when Cooks came back.
His per game stats last year were really good with dog shit QB play. And if Stroud doesn't have to be amazing, and for him to pay off this pretty well. And I don't know, he's a big guy. I could see him being a red zone guy. He hasn't really caught a lot of touchdowns so far in his career, but he profiles as a guy that could be scoring touchdowns. So I don't know.
I took a lot of him early. I've kind of stopped taking him since his price has gone up so much. I'm still overweight. I just checked. I'm still 9%, but I took a lot.
He was crazy cheap. Crazy.
When I'm really in jail. Go ahead, Herzig.
He moved into the area where I'm not normally drafting wide receivers.
Right.
And he then became the wide receiver. Him, Zay Jones, even Jacoby Myers were all like, okay, I'm back on wide receivers. Let me grab one of these 3 guys that I really like. They all moved up into that kind of, oh shit, I didn't take a wide receiver earlier, so now I got to reach on one area.
Yeah.
I had
26%
really
in the big board. I do like the player.
I love Mechie, Stroud, 16, 17, 15, 16 or whatever. I think Stroud has this ability to be sort of one of the keystones of best ball this year. If he can be B+ rookie quarterback, C- real life NFL quarterback, there's a lot of cheap guys that he brings up, and he's got a week 17 dome game. So he just there's only 4 week 17 dome games.
Don't tweet about his cheap guys. Just don't do it.
No one cares.
You
Also,
tweeted about the wrong one. You could have picked 3
Don't tweet about
ones.
his guys. I'm just saying that Twitter will not be happy.
Little bit of breaking news here on the program. DraftKings just updated their odds on where DeAndre Hopkins is going to land. They moved the Titans down to -150, and they moved the Chiefs up from 16-1 to +330.
That's not breaking. You may have literally put a $50 bet or something, and it moved that much.
I mean, everyone was getting breaking news. I made a $50 bet that the Chiefs are going to get DeAndre Hopkins signed to the veteran minimum.
Breaking news: the DeAndre Hopkins prop market is incredibly illiquid.
I mean, we're all just here getting these jokes off. I'm just treating it like fait accompli that he's going to be a Titan now. Like I'm just doing that in my drafts.
Trying to figure out if we ended up. We actually had a chance at him earlier.
But didn't you say he's 3-1 to go to the Chiefs?
Yeah, but he was 16-1.
Right. So doesn't that say he might go to the Chiefs?
It's so hard for them. It's so hard for them to make the money work. Like their cap is like kind of all messed up. So he would, and it seems like would prefer money over championship odds.
I heard they basically have to. Should we go Kincaid here? I mean, right?
I'm down with Kincaid.
It was like this is the back-to-back. I mean, this is also, we're getting Kincaid 142, 10 picks past that ADP.
We're really set at running back. I mean, we're going to take one more, but
we're going to take Gainwell or Chuba Hubbard, and we're going to be rich.
Yeah. I don't take a lot of Kincaid, but that makes sense, I think.
I guess I'll float it later. I have a Galaxy Brain 18th round pick on the team, but
if you knew, question.
Tutu Atwell is our guy on this team, buddy.
If you knew you could get Higbee and Stafford, would you rather have had Higbee, Stafford, or Stafford, but like
no Higbee? This is true. You can look it up. Higbee
inversely correlate?
Are inversely correlated. They like when Higbee has like his yearly 3 touchdown game, that's like Cooper Kupp's 7 for 80 game. I actually believe that. Like obviously it's super low sample because Higbee spike weeks are so rare. But I think it's true because the Rams are a low volume offense. They don't run a lot of plays. They don't play fast.
Well,
and
I guess
this year.
My pushback on that is like, are inversely correlated teammates bad in 3 consecutive tournaments?
No.
I kind of think no. Like I think that's almost like it's kind of good in some ways, right?
Yeah, if the team scores a lot of points, it's probably good.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to with the Saints, they're very good at the Rams identifying what the weakness of their opponents is, and that's where we had those Cooper Kupp 17 target games. Tyler Higbee, 13 targets, whatever it was. He had that insane one. Even Robert Woods was getting some high volume back in the day. Are we good with Stafford?
Yeah.
I like it, yeah.
Yeah, but Kincaid could be anything, even a boat. I mean, we know what Tyler Higbee is. He is a used mid-sized sedan who will get you like one really nice stretch on the highway per year.
And lead a team and be second in a team in targets. Not too
Higbee's
bad.
like a very, very poor man's Kittle. Like it's like you're gonna get the one spike week instead of 3, you're gonna get 1, and it's like mostly based on like some random wide or tight end screens that probably were totally matchup dependent. It's kind of Goddardish that way. He like actually just used in the screen game.
Yeah, I mean, but Higbee has just been in the NFL forever. He's heading into his 9th year, and like we are intimately familiar with his work. He's got no ceiling other than what he's shown.
They also used him to block more last year because their offensive line was so bad, and it's not looking like it's going to be any good this year. So, I don't know.
Higbee and Kittle sound like the perfect kind of tight end combination, especially on probably DK. But Higbee's at least giving you the opportunity at volume spike week, but if not, you're still going to get your points, and then Kittle's hopefully going to give you those correct spike weeks.
Right.
All right, let's do a quick refresher. We are at 2-4-5-2. Josh and Stafford were done there. Running backs, Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker, Rashad Penny, Elijah Mitchell, done well with our bye weeks. I think draft capital's pretty decent at running back. I agree. Just grabbing one late one. We're a little light at the wide receiver position after Cooper Kupp with Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Zay Flowers, Nico Collins. We'll keep an eye on, let's see, from a Ram standpoint, is Jefferson already?
Van probably went.
Yeah, Van.
We don't want Van Jefferson anyway.
Not at 137.
No.
I would have taken him.
This is the ETR's fault. I mean, he was going like 25 picks later.
I know.
Yeah, where does Leone
far above?
Yeah, Leone had to do his little math.
Well, where does Leone have Kamara now? Because no man has more power in this market.
I need to give a pause real quick.
It's wild.
I need to give a pause because it's hilarious when you guys are talking about Leone's influence on the industry, but there's like an amazing team of people with Jack and Mark and a lot of others that are like helping with those ranks. So shout out to them, the entire ETR projection teams. Yes, Leone is the king, and
We
this,
got to
you
put
know,
the villain
the
face
pilot
on it,
and
though.
everything.
Yeah,
It's
Like,
it's
Leone-
way cooler if it's like a villain behind the curtain, like
Right.
the little puppet master.
This is
behind the
messaging
scenes.
101. You
Yeah.
create one person and then you just say it's
Like
all their
you
fault.
don't like an ADP on Underdog, you don't have to send it to @establish the run. You send it to @2hats1mike and you tell him to change it.
It's at
Oh.
thanksleone@gmail.com.
For Twitter, definitely tag him. Brashad Perryman, definitely tag him. Like Juju Smith-Schuster next year, it's going to be tagging Leone.
Oh
Oh,
my
yeah.
god. Yeah, Juju's
I
going
forgot.
to get cut this year and then he's going to end up signing. Yeah, I mean,
The Ravens definitely. That's a
yeah,
classic.
he's totally
Ravens
a
move.
Raven. He's gonna be next year's Deshaun Jackson, Des Bryant
Well,
guy that's just randomly on the Ravens.
yeah. What other receivers did at age 33, he's going to do it like age 26.
Right.
Yeah, Juju. People don't know he's actually still 23 years old.
We're gonna find
right
out he
now.
was lying about his age. Like this is a fake birth certificate situation. That's why he was so good early on because he was 28 years old.
Because he's 28 years old at
Who
USC.
was the Carolina Panther that was a wide receiver but really a tight end?
Calvin Benjamin.
Kelvin
Devin
Benjamin.
Funchess.
There's Juju's trajectory.
Oh, Devin Funchess too. Yeah,
I think Devin Funchess is listed as a tight end on Pro Football.
I think he is, right?
now. Yeah,
Because he was on the Packers, I think, and was trying to make it as a tight end.
Yeah, tight end, 18th round. Devin
Don't put
Funchess.
him in the queue.
I want to say
Leverage.
Funchess played in one of these spring leagues.
Funchess had a good rookie year. Was he the same thing as Kelvin Benjamin, but it just happened like 2 years later? Like,
Yeah.
that's like the same person in my head.
Oh,
Yeah,
he
he was
wasn't.
actually smaller than Benjamin. Benjamin was so huge.
Yeah,
All right, we're just filling up the queue right now.
Benjamin tore his ACL. I wonder if he might have been okay for another couple years if he hadn't done that.
He just couldn't separate at all.
He couldn't separate at all.
Yeah. Just for anyone who want to know, Devin Funchess is working on his basketball game. He's trying to make it as a power forward in the NBA.
So usually tight ends go the other way, but he's like,
Yeah,
I'm going to go
he's
from
going
wide
back.
receiver to tight end to basketball.
Yeah. I
All
thought
right.
he was awesome at Michigan, honestly.
I like Hodgins here.
I like
Okay.
Hodgins.
It's fine.
No one's got anything else to say.
We're getting
I would
a
actually take Chuba Hubbard or Ty Chandler and then just be done.
And be done.
Uh,
That's probably a good call because
I don't care at all about the difference between Hodgins, Hyatt, or Slayton. I think they're all like equally good bets.
Okay.
Sure.
I like
I
Chuba.
care a little bit, but there's so many, and we just need one. We don't have Jones. We're just looking for bringbacks.
Yeah.
I do like Chuba a decent amount versus the other guys back here because the way that I see it is like Carolina wants to run. We saw both him and Deonta have like some decent games last year, and that offensive line was pretty efficient. If Miles Sanders gets hurt or just isn't what we expect him to be, I think Chuba has a level of upside that most of these guys don't. Or
I think
maybe it's
Chuba's
just
good.
the path to get there is a little better.
He might be the better running back on that team.
He might
Crane, give him the yards per route run stats on Miles. They're like even for the context that Miles Sanders played in, they're fucking horrible. It's really bad.
Let me pull it up. It is wild. Let's see. So this is minimum.
Real quick, sorry. After this pick, if we can move to that,
Okay.
but we are planning on grabbing some Giants. We are planning on going heavy on wide receiver. We are going to be in a little week 13 trouble. Does it make sense to grab a New England guy?
Let's take Thornton. Let's take Thornton.
Do
for
we
bye
actually
week
like
stuff.
Thornton?
I really am out.
Hodgins.
I'm out on Thornton. I'm like completely out. So
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's my. Or is there a Curtis Samuel versus San Francisco? Like,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
But
that's-
still
Yeah, if you
prefer
want to do that
Hodgins.
for the week 13 thing.
I kind of want to do that for at least this one because at least
Okay,
the
sure.
better, the non-correlated, non-crazy correlated, at least is like, okay, we can expect Curtis Samuels to give us some points, especially for that week 13. Now we can pretty much hammer the rest of this draft, which is 3 rounds correlation guys here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So my thing on Thornton, and like he's a guy who I was in on early in the offseason. So like I see the argument, but with them giving Parker money, bringing in Gesicki, still being in play for Hopkins theoretically, paying Juju a ton of money, still having Bourne on the roster. Like, is there really a path to Thornton getting a ton of snaps on this team? Like, I just think it's getting thinner and thinner.
Yeah,
and
he just plays instead of Juju and Bourne. It's very simple.
He's not playing over Juju, despite
he's
how
not
much we
playing
joke
over
about it.
Yeah, they don't really play the same roles. They played him in like as a true X receiver last year, which he was awful at. So maybe they switch his role up. It was just Patricia like not knowing what they're doing, but I don't know. Like, to me, Parker is just way more locked in on playing time and actually had spike weeks last year, and Thornton was awful and not locked in.
Thornton had 2 spike weeks.
Did he though? He got into Crane's lineup, but with like 11
He scored 2 touchdowns in his second NFL game.
He almost scored 2 touchdowns in week 17.
How many catches did he have, Davis?
I don't know, like 2
4,
probably.
4,
it's probably a real Jameson Williams situation. Like, Jameson Williams averaged 40 yards per reception because he had 1 reception.
It was a good one though.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Pat, I think you were going to give us the Chuba. What was it?
It was
No,
a
it's a Miles
yards per
Sanders.
hour.
Yeah.
So minimum 20 targets. Miles Sanders finished running back 61 of 61 with 0.28 yards per out run. So obviously that's terrible. But maybe a better way to think about this, just to kind of really hammer this home, Miles Sanders ran the 17th most routes among these 61 running backs. He ran more routes than Rashad White. He ran more routes than David Montgomery. He ran more routes than Tony Pollard. He ran a lot of routes. Of these 61 running backs, only Javonte Williams had fewer yards. So he had 81 yards last season on a boatload of routes. I don't think you can pay a guy to be a good receiver. So the money and the talk that we're hearing out of Carolina about him being a 3-down guy, he is not a 3-down guy. So the Raheem Blackshear stuff makes me a little more nervous about Chuba being the one who benefits from that. But I do like betting against Miles Sanders. I'll take him if he falls past ADP, but getting the contingent bet there is pretty nice, I think.
Don't mention Blackshear to Liam. He was a Bills practice squad player, so he's pretty into Blackshear.
He's a big preseason DFS guy, right?
He was, yeah. I mean, because he's one of these dudes who was like, oh, sure, I'll play the whole game. I won't complain.
So my 18th round Galaxy brain, which we're not going to do anymore, was going to be Nyheim Hines as our 5th running back, which is just like the only thesis there is just like he's
highest paid Bills running back.
He's gonna make the roster like because he does kick returns, and if Cook gets injured, he is gonna play a role, right? So
or what if they just play him instead of Cook anyways? Because coaches do stuff like that all the time.
I mean,
yeah.
So Pac-Man 888 just twisting the blade.
Deontay Hardy's better, anyways. It's okay.
Well, ideally, you want both of them on this build.
Yeah, we do have 2. We do have them double stacked already, though. So,
all right. I know we're not on Tyquan Thornton. He's the best ADP. Hyatt, Slayton, Wandale, Devontae Parker.
I would go. I'm Parker here, but if you guys want to bully me into Thornton, I'll give you the ADP value.
Squad.
I'd probably take Hyatt and just get a bring back, but I'd rather go Thornton than.
Well,
Parker.
this is a double. Either of these guys are a bring back.
Oh right, yeah. Let's go Thornton.
Yeah,
Thornton
that's the idea
instead
here,
of Parker.
I like Thornton over Parker.
Sure, I do too.
A little more upside.
Damn, Sam is bummed, dude.
Just sometimes you gotta just look at the game logs. Just take a look at those Devontae Parker spike weeks last year and compare them to the Tyquan Thornton spike weeks, and they're not very close.
Yeah, but one was a rookie.
One was a guy who played like 8 games, and he put up 2 massive weeks.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like the asymmetrical upsides on the rookie who runs like a 4.2.
I know, man, but like it was like you look at his rookie year
calculation.
stats, like they were like
no, they were terrible. He was terrible.
Betting on like the year 2 guys who were such face plants in year 1, I'm just like not sure is like that.
Are you guys gonna let me take Tutu here, or are we gonna take
not here?
One of these Giants. Well, we only have 2 more picks left.
Yeah,
but
I think
aren't
we go
both
a Giant
receivers
here, and then we go either
isn't
Hardy or Tutu.
Isn't Hardy our 18th round pick?
Oh,
I'm good with Hyatt or Slayton.
I like Hyatt.
Sorry, I don't care.
I think Hyatt's way too cheap right now. Like,
what do we need? Do we have the early season stuff? Yeah, I guess with Samuel covered, we're probably good with Hyatt.
We got healthy
Slayton's gonna be
guys
more
coming
early
out the
season, I
gate.
think. Yeah.
It's literally a spike week player, a rookie.
I thought he was like grossly mispriced earlier, but I like him now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Like Darius Slayton just feels like, we're drafting someone who's going to start off doing pretty well. And I don't know. We know who he is. Wandale, I would have heard an argument for instead of Hyatt because I think he's got a similar case. But
I mean, Darius Slayton is like, instead of taking Alan Lazard, just like wait and take Darius Slayton.
Yeah.
To me, it's like I kind of like Darius Slayton too, but it's just like a different profile of what I'm looking for.
Who are the Alan Lazard drafters? I need them to show themselves.
I think Davis and I drafted him on stream.
Davis, you are. It's you, bud.
This would be good. Let's go. Do I have an Alan Lazard team? That's a good.
I
that's a
do.
good
I have a
one.
$5. I have one puppy of Alan Lazard.
In the preseason stuff,
I've
he was going.
I've got one puppy of him too. One
Yeah,
I think on
Look at us
ADP
frauds.
chasing, I
Ugly.
made a case for him because in like the pre-draft stuff, he was going like the 160s, and I was like, all right, fine. But now at
well, sure,
110,
that's different than like
Yeah.
I'd take fucking Rashi Rice over him. I don't care.
Yeah, and I take Rodgers, but it's usually because I have Brees, and then I just go grab Conklin, Hardman.
Hardman, yeah.
Yeah.
Hardman was like
I like Corey
Hardman
Davis.
was like Hardman
I'm a
was like
Corey
low
Davis
key
guy.
breaking out.
I'm worried about Davis even playing.
Fair. I think there's a larger concern about Hardman playing. I think Hardman's just going to be on like 20 snaps a game or something.
Hardman is who he was with.
Yeah.
Hardman is who he was with the Chiefs, but he's just Aaron Rodgers now.
Yeah, I just
Right.
think Corey Davis has an actual route to being in two wide sets. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's a better wide receiver than Alan Lazard.
I don't think he's playing around Lazard though. He also was really bad last. Like he ranked wide receiver 81 in open scores, tied with Marcus Valdes-Scantling for the lowest in the league.
I feel like
He might
people
be-
haven't
No.
digested enough the fact that Nathaniel Hackett is the offensive coordinator here.
Ugh,
like
it's awful.
shipwreck potential for the Jets is like pretty strong. I feel
That's
like.
true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And their
And
week
And I like
17
Wilson and Brees, so I don't want to hear it, but it's true.
their
Yeah,
week
that's good.
17 game, by the way, the total for that game when we get there, it's going to be like 34.5, which is like I'm consciously like kind of not drafting Browns and Jets players for that reason.
What do you guys think of this 4 QB build we've got going on here? It's like the rest of the
Four-
draft is actually like those are their only QBs.
See, I just think that like 4 tight end, I don't believe in, but I can understand it because 2 tight ends can crack your starting lineup. I think it's actually like not that unlikely that could happen even
Yeah.
in like a 400-person tournament and actually matter. But with 4 quarterbacks, that's 3 roster spots that can't hit your starting lineup. Like, I can't see how that can be optimal. But I guess if you're gonna do it with all these guys late. But to me, it's just that there's no reason to go above 3.
Yep.
In BBM especially, right? 441 teams, and you just X out 3 of your roster spots, even though they're late picks. But like those late picks generally do hit the lineups of the winning teams, like at least some of them.
I think Bryce, Purdy, and Kyler is actually not horrible. Maybe Kyler and Purdy shouldn't be on the same team, but I do think Purdy's going to start week 1, so it's okay.
Bryce
Bryce and-
is the bad pick.
I agree, because you got Mac. I mean,
And he has Kittle, so the Purdy one makes sense. I don't know what the Carolina. Yeah, there's not even Carolina correlation. That's probably the right one. Is skip Bryce.
Yeah.
it's too conservative. Because look, he backdoor stacked Mac Jones.
Right. So just don't use Bryce here.
Just don't
It's
do
not.
Bryce.
I don't even think it's conservative. Like honestly, I probably have a couple 4 quarterback teams just from fucking misclicking or whatever, or getting timed out. And I look at them and I'm like, this is just awful. What have I done?
So for 4 tight ends, because we were talking, I'm actually pretty bullish on 4 tight ends on DraftKings and been doing it a decent
Yes.
amount. Not only is it 20 rounds, not only is it
Yeah,
PPR,
DraftKings
we're
is
like,
fine, I think.
where getting those tight end ones can actually come into your give you decent weeks. But yeah, I'm not for it. And
Underdog, I'm pretty out on it in Underdog just because like, yes, you can make the argument that it had good advance rates, but if you just take those advance rates and take away the 4th tight end, 3 tight ends is just like better every time. So I'm just like, what? I don't get the point. Like,
I also think there's a little bias that I'm not sure how predictive it is that.
Sorry,
Hardy
you're
or
up
Tutu?
on clock.
Do
Yeah.
we want to do Hardy? I think so.
I think I vote Tutu. Just like
Yeah, I
feel
vote
like he's
2-2
gonna play.
also.
Okay.
Are we double stacked
double
Josh
stacked
Allen
with that
already.
one.
We
We
have
have
Cooper
Gabe
Kupp.
and Kincaid.
Okay.
We have Kincaid, Davis, and
I'd maybe just
New
break
England
the tie.
bring back.
2 double stacks instead of a double and a triple, I guess.
By week 10 versus 13 also helps us.
Yeah. Yeah.
2-2 it is.
Yes, Short King comes home.
Oh, that's fine. Oh, but yeah, on the 3 tight ends, the last thing I was going to say is I'm not sure how predictive it is, but it seems to be like a little trend. But these late tight ends finishing in the top 6 when the past, 3 years we've had either 2 or 3 late tight ends on the finishing up there?
Past 4 years, there's been a tight end going outside of the top 20 tight ends who's finished as a top 6 tight end.
Okay, in the past 3 years, there was like 3-2-3 or 3-3-2 or something. Like it was insane. And those are obviously going to lead to 3 and 4 tight end builds working well because you're just getting ridiculous value at a top 6 tight end, maybe even 2. Is that predictive? I could see an argument for why it is, just because the ones we're drafting near the end of drafts are in play. They have the role. It's more of just, can their offense be more efficient?
Well, we're overconfident, right? I mean, we're not taking,
Yeah.
and I don't like Hayden Hurst, right? But he's the starting tight end on the Panthers. So that's maybe me being overconfident. We're not taking the starting tight end on the Bucks. We're not taking the starting tight end on the Dolphins. If you mention Durham Smythe, you will get laughed at. He is the starting tight end, though. You get, there's another one, too. We're not taking the starting tight ends.
Commanders, not really.
On the Commanders, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that it's just something that can break very easily in your favor if you have the starting tight end on the Cowboys is free, probably, because I'm not totally sure who it is, but
even if not free, they're late. They're late draft picks that qualify for this build. Yeah.
I know you don't like that I say they're free, but what am I supposed to say? I can get them with my last pick.
You get my argument for the free aspect, right?
They only cost the roster spot.
I'm a very much your last picks matter, so I don't mean it in the sense that they're free. Okay. Who cares? I mean that like we're not pricing them with any sort of premium relative to the other players in the pool because they're readily available in the 18th like every time. So
right. And the counter is I just feel
relative to the baseline they are free.
Yeah, in regular redraft leagues, your last rounder is literally free. Those kickers were free because you could drop them and such. Here you
could them. Yeah.
Semantics.
That's a I get it.
Fair.
I mean, it's definitely a distinction for best ball, but yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons. Like, there aren't when we're looking at the wide receivers in that range, it's often guys that we're like very uncertain about what their roles are, and
we drafted Tutu.
Yeah, like
I mean, we know exactly what his role is going to be. Settle down.
Oh, Jelani Woods is probably starting tight end. Noah Fant's probably starting tight end. Like, I mean, we feel pretty strongly that the question isn't, will this guy play? It's, does he run 50% of the routes or does he run 65 to 70%? If you run 65 to 70%, like immediately those are big wins. So I just think it's the position itself is sort of like, I think it's kind of like a structural thing in an 18-round draft where it's just like hard to want to draft every single tight end on all 32 teams.
Yep. And this is why Pat prefers to go with a 3 late tight end strategy over anything else. Definitely not the elite ones. Just making sure we're clear.
I definitely prefer elite tight end. It's a huge advantage in this 3 consecutive tournament structure. But look, I mean, like you said earlier with Pitts, right? If you take Pitts, especially the way these ADPs are right now, no problem going with Pitts and then 2 of those late guys. I think that can be an edge. Another thing I'll say about the tight ends is that I do wonder if these ADPs hold quite like this, because we're going to start to get the buzz on the ones who might be breakouts during training camp. And unfortunately, we're going to get a rash of injuries at all positions, which is going to thin the player pool. And so all of a sudden, taking Michael Mayer in the 18th round, well, that's actually more appealing because I know Michael Mayer's healthy and a bunch of other guys aren't, and I know he's the starting tight end on the Raiders, so I'll grab him not in the 17th or the 18th, but in the 15th.
Yeah.
But we're also going to have running backs that are currently now going 18th or not being drafted that we have now more confidence that it's the backup that I think are going to jump up to the 15th.
That's true too.
16th.
That's true too.
Yeah. I was trying to tell myself, like, is Hunter Henry ever going to move up the draft boards? Like, there's not a piece of news, even if like he's going to be in main tight end sets. We know that. Like, yeah, I get your
Ferguson could, like, a lot.
Yeah. Musgrave, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, Jelani.
But yeah, wide receivers are the ones that I think are actually going to fall the most because you don't really get reports like this player's in 2 wide sets, 3 wide sets. The degree of running backs, this is the number 2. He's going to be, giving a breather to the starter, etc. Yeah. Well, this was fun, gentlemen. Thank you. Overview. What do you think of the team for drafting 2 wide receivers in the first 6 picks?
I mean, I think this team is why you can get away with it. I mean, I don't think you should be doing this often. I don't think this should be the majority of your builds, but it is. Well, one, I think the advance rates probably will not be great for teams like this because wide receivers have gotten so expensive. Like, how many teams are going to have a quarterback and a wide receiver both drafted in the first 6 or 7 picks? Like, that's going to be a low, especially when those are not teammates, right? When it's not, if you miraculously get Lamar Andrews teams, or if it's not Hurts and Goddard or Kelsey and Mahomes, like that's going to be an abnormal pairing to get through to the advancing rounds. So
I think it puts more pressure on like Kenneth Walker, right? If Kenneth Walker is solidly productive, but he's basically in a committee, we're screwed. We need him to be a smash in the 5th round. But he does profile with that kind of upside. And Pitt's profiles is a guy who could be in the 2nd round next year. Like he has that level of upside. So I feel like if you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball wide receiver, at least do it with players who have really, really high ceilings at the other position.
And in that point, I think this team lives and dies from an advance rate on Kyle Pitts.
That makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
We took Kyle Pitts over another wide receiver that could have made this a more manageable wide receiver build, which we're all happy with. But
although we did luck box
Zay
Flowers, we because that could have been. That could have
been. That could have looked a lot
or Jameson Williams or whatever.
We would have gone Cortland Sutton. I agree, but
I feel I don't.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm the Sutton bull-ish, and I still don't think that's fun.
It still does not. Yeah, and I like Gabe. Like Gabe Davis for me is the ultimate like in a stack player, and I think on this team too, particularly, he's really valuable because his big weeks are going to be so correlated with Josh Allen's big weeks that like. It gives us a chance to really get that, round 2, round 3 upside at wide receiver in this range on a weekly basis, like when Allen goes off. So I think, structurally, it's if you're gonna punt wide receiver a little bit, I think we did it.
I mean, really, the fucking key player is Cooper Kupp. Like Cooper Kupp is the 3rd highest scoring half-point PPR wide receiver. We feel a lot better, but like we are. This team is in no way able to survive Cooper Kupp missing a time or playing injured or whatever. Like it
Tutu would fill in.
A good point. You're right. I don't know.
So what I do worry about is these last 3 wide receivers on a team where we do need wide receivers could be dead roster spots. Like that's where I'm just like, give me. And I know it's not cool, but just give me Devontae Parker over Tyquan Thornton. Like I know it's not a cool thing to say, but. I feel a lot better about him just contributing points than I do Thornton.
Well, I'm hoping Nico's that guy. Like Nico is sort of the bet where, he's kind of just helping you fill the position and chug along, and then you. I mean, that's the breakout bets.
That's the secret thing that we don't really like to admit about best ball is that so much of the results are based on sequencing of how points are distributed. The season end total doesn't matter that much compared to how they're sequenced, and that's. Almost wholly unknowable, unsimmable, unprojectable, right? Like it just is.
It's random.
And that is going to be a huge factor in dictating advance rates and how your team
on the margin. Because like there's guys who are going to drive advance rates, and then a lot of random stuff will also happen.
Yes.
Well, hey, for our cumulative 1914th draft of this season,
wow.
Well done. Stat chasing weekly pods. Been really enjoying it. What else do you guys have going on? All of it. We want to hear it all.
I'll go first with the ADP chasing. We got Jacob coming on. Jacob Sanderson coming on next Monday. So that'll be fun. That's definitely going to be a really short episode. I imagine 30 to 45 minutes. We'll get through all the movement. The market movement really quickly.
That even seems long. What do we even have
about
to
12
say?
hours of podcasting with Jacob and I believe 3 episodes over the last.
Yeah.
But anyways, looking forward to that. That's all I got going on.
Takecast, Sports Grid Fantasy Football Podcast. You guys know where to find that.
Ruining people's main events experiences. Good job.
I'm doing a 7 drafts consecutive stream on Tuesday for 718. Justin, I actually need to invite you on that. We're going to be doing 7 drafts, 18 guests for 718 in honor of the date that I drafted my winning BBM 3 team. So check that out on the Legendary Upside YouTube channel.
And that's same day as the DraftKings winner. Was that right?
That's the same day as King Cap, who won the Underdog regular season.
That's right. No,
That's so gnarly.
that's crazy.
Something in the water.
Last thing, Davis, how are your coins? How are your tokens doing after this big court case?
You know, I'm really trying not to check these days. I think my virtual soccer players on So Rare have been going up a little bit though. The XRP lawsuit.
Shit.
The XRP lawsuit, I think, is good for the coin boys, though. I think.
Wait, what happened with this court case? I didn't hear.
Okay.
Basically, Ripple, this fucking criminal organization, beat the United States federal government in a lawsuit, which no one thought was going to happen. Everyone assumed they were going to get crushed.
Let me give a little more. All right. XRP is the coin of Ripple. Ripple decided they were going to build a banking-to-banking infrastructure to bypass what we call SWIFT and online payments now. But they were going to do it through blockchain technology. XRP was their coin that was going to be what you needed to make bank transfers. They sold that to institutions, which is a security. They also sold it to regular Joe Ed Mo, but not a security. And so the court case determined that if you sell these coins to general people, it wasn't a security. This is huge for all of coins because they are like the most centralized. If it was a security, like it probably may have actually been one. But the fact that they're not one means that like Bitcoin, ETH, and a lot of others are probably not going to be securities either. And I gave a holy shit because like Coinbase is up 20% today. Even in the hour we've been on here, they went from 95 to 103. And my wife works there.
So that has tax implications, right?
It's more has like you're not under threat of logging onto Coinbase one day and getting an FBI warning that your assets have been seized type victory.
The SEC claimed that Coinbase was running an unregistered security exchange because the coins they were saying were securities. Well, like the NASDAQ is a registered exchange. That risk is now pretty much completely gone because if XRP is not a security, then
none of them are.
Pretty much none.
It really basically just means Ethereum and NFTs, which Bitcoin maxis and other people in the crypto space have been saying forever are unregistered securities, which is very illegal to sell and trade. The government probably is going to not do that. It's probably just not going to be a claim they even bother making at this point if that's the way this lawsuit pans out.
Yeah,
Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be appealed to the second court, whatever, probably. But like it's a big ruling that now there is actual law in place that other judges, other courts can defer to.
Yeah.
So pretty crazy.
So Top Shot will be good then.
I mean, Top Shot to the moon.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. Oh God.
You're gonna want to hold those.
So I should check my Top Shots and see how those are doing.
On the same day.
I know a site that can help you there. Don't worry.
Did you guys see they let Dapper let 51 people go today?
Oh no.
Not
They're trying to bury the news. They're like good crypto news. They're like fire everyone, fire them.
It was yesterday. It was before the news.
Okay, it was yesterday.
Oh, come on, Dapper. At least bury the news.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Unfortunate.
All right.
All right. Well, this was fun, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. ADP chasing, shipping, Corain.
We're chasing.
Stealing.
We're
shipping Corain now.
We're shipping Corain now.
I mean, we're doing the best
we've
we can.
We've given up on chasing him. We're just shipping him now. We're not even trying to chase him. It's over.
Oh, too funny. Thanks for coming.
I just need to win 20 Pomeranians to get half a Corain.
Hey, 718. That's when we can officially
He
start
thinks
drafting.
it's a lifestyle for you now, Davis.
It is. Honestly, at this point, I feel it's a constant guiding principle. It's a guiding light in all my decisions, which is helpful. It's useful to have that in your life.
Oh, that's great. All right. That's hilarious. 5 days from now, catch Pat doing 7 drafts with 18 people. Commemorate the big day. All right. It's fantastic. Everyone chat. You were great too. I will see you. It's today Thursday. Today's Thursday. I'll see you next Monday. All right.